On February 24, 2023, the body of Abby Choi, a well-known figure in Hong Kong, was found by the police in a house in Lung Mei Tsuen Village, Tai Po, Hong Kong. The crime scene was horrifying and could be described as gruesome. Many people felt nauseous upon seeing the room. Choi was highly recognized in Hong Kong's entertainment and fashion circles. However, her fate has now become synonymous with terms like dismemberment to dispose of the body, involving methods such as boiling soup, dismembering, and storing fragments in a refrigerator, making the case a global shock. Even BBC and CNN covered the incident. Since then, various news sources have made this once clear case more confusing. Some claim it was a property dispute, while others suggest it was driven by a romantic relationship between her former and current partners, who were allegedly involved in a same-sex affair. So, what exactly did she go through, and why was she murdered in such a brutal manner? Abby Choi was born on July 15, 1994, in Hong Kong. Her mother, Chung Yin-fa, was an ordinary village woman. Growing up, she married her first husband and lived in Haikou City, Hainan, China. Since her in-laws were influential in Hong Kong, they moved there and had Choi. But the good times didn't last long. Shortly after settling in Hong Kong, her husband developed a gambling addiction, leading to their divorce. Chung then remarried a restaurant owner, Choi's current stepfather, and they had 2 daughters together. Choi had a good relationship with her stepfather and half-sisters. After remarrying, Chung and her current husband decided to move from Hong Kong back to Hainan for economic development and investment. They initially dealt in titanium metals before venturing into infrastructure projects in Hainan, amassing hundreds of millions of Hong Kong dollars in wealth. A few years ago, Chung even created a social media account to share her daily life. Locals in Hainan knew her as a kind-hearted person. As a mother, she often advised her daughters to be kind and compassionate. At age 15, Choi met a peer named Alex Kwong while still in school. Compared to Choi's family, Alex came from a modest background, but she didn't mind. She loved him genuinely, and in 2012, when Choi turned 18, they registered their marriage. The couple had a son and a daughter together. Around that time, Choi also started her Instagram account, where she showcased luxury handbags and jewelry, attracting many followers. On the other hand, her husband did not have a stable job. Between 2013 and 2015, he stole 39 necklaces, 32 bracelets, and gold in the Yau Tsim Mong area, a district in Hong Kong, and was charged with 7 counts of theft. In early 2015, he used a gay dating app to scam people, posing as a high-end intermediary dealing in precious metals, claiming he could resell gold at high prices. He managed to defraud 4 close male friends of nearly 5 million yuan, equivalent to about $703,000. In February 2015, he was arrested by the police for fraud at Whampoa Garden, where he lived with Choi, and was later released on bail. Additionally, he faced numerous financial issues. In 2015, American Express Bank recovered a debt of 100,000 Hong Kong dollars from him. In 2016, another creditor pursued a debt of nearly 1.58 million Hong Kong dollars, even taking him to the High Court. Alex then chose to flee, becoming a wanted criminal. Remarkably, for years afterward, he frequently traveled between mainland China and Hong Kong, but the Hong Kong police failed to capture him. After he fled, Choi likely realized she had married the wrong person and quickly divorced him. Post-divorce, custody of the children was awarded to Alex, and the children were sent to live with his family. Choi then moved on to a new life, marrying Chris Tam Fong Chun, the son of the owner of Tam Jai Noodle, a popular restaurant chain in Hong Kong with a 27-year history and hundreds of branches. On December 9, 2016, Abby Choi and Chris held a grand wedding, although they never officially registered their marriage. Interestingly, most of the assets of both families remained separate. After the wedding, in 2018, Choi purchased a high-rise apartment in Manhattan Hill, which currently has a market value of approximately 45 million Hong Kong dollars, equivalent to about 5.8 million US dollars. Despite not having official marriage documentation, Their married life seemed very sweet, and Choi had a son and a daughter with Chris. Choi's mother, Chung Yin-fa, often posted family photos on social media, captioning them with, "The fate of my incredibly filial son-in-law is truly remarkable. Whenever we're together, we engage in endless conversations, understand and support each other, cherish the beautiful journey of life, and feel grateful for everything." Based on these posts, it is clear that Chung Yin-fa was very fond of her new son-in-law, Chris. Additionally, Chris took excellent care of Choi's 2 children from her previous marriage. When they traveled, they often brought all 4 children along. Choi's new in-laws were also very pleased with her, describing her as their kind-hearted, precious daughter, even if not by blood. After being accepted by Chris's family, Choi's career started to take off, likely due to increased support from various sources. She frequently attended public events in the fashion industry and met many prominent figures. By late January 2023, Choi participated in Paris Fashion Week. On February 15th, just 8 days before the incident, Choi appeared on the cover of a Paris fashion newsletter described as the most promising rising star. In contrast, her ex-husband Alex Kwong continued living a leisurely life. So how could he let go of the ATM he once had in the form of his ex-wife? In the years following their divorce, Choi continued to financially support Alex's family. According to a report from Chinese media, Choi even promised to care for her ex-husband for the rest of his life. During the divorce period, even when he faced business investment losses, she never got angry. Choi kept her promise. According to a Sina.com report, after their 2015 divorce, Alex's family cared for the 2 children, but in reality, Choi covered all financial expenses, including hiring a maid and a private driver. Meanwhile, Alex's family used the children as a reason to ask for money from Choi, which they quickly squandered. Alex, a wanted criminal for years, often posed as a wealthy man in mainland China and spent hundreds of thousands of Hong Kong dollars in a single night buying drinks for others. In 2018, Abby Choi co-founded Ping Lady Limited, a company where both she and her ex-husband's brother, Anthony Kwong, served as directors. In 2021, Choi invested in establishing Bear Snack, a snack company where she also served as a director alongside Anthony. In a group photo posted by Anthony on social media, he included the hashtag #BroAndSisLove, hinting at a seemingly close relationship. Moreover, Alex's family somehow maintained a good relationship with Choi's new in-laws. According to a friend of Choi named Bao Tai, her current husband Chris once sustained a leg injury and was undergoing rehabilitation. During that time, her ex-husband Alex frequently accompanied him and persistently invited Chris to join him at casinos. Even patients at the rehab center complained about this behavior. Chris declined Alex's invitations, unwilling to deceive Choi, and Choi chose to act as if nothing had happened. In January 2023, under Choi's arrangement, both her ex-husband's and current husband's families went to a temple together, and they even took a group photo. Overall, the relationship between the 2 families is somewhat difficult for outsiders to describe. Most incredibly, in 2019, Choi spent 72 million Hong Kong dollars to purchase a luxury home at Kadoorie Hill in Kowloon, Hong Kong, and registered it under her ex-father-in-law Kwong Kao's name. However, some media outlets speculated that Choi's motive was tax avoidance since she already owned an apartment at Manhattan Hill. If she purchased another home with a first-time buyer's name, she could save 7 million Hong Kong dollars in taxes. In 2020, Alex Kwong's family moved into the luxury home and posted a photo of a hot pot meal on Instagram with the caption, "First meal in the new home." Little did Choi know that this house would later become a place of remembrance for her. In 2022, Choi planned to sell the villa registered under her ex-father-in-law's name, leaving part of the proceeds as an education fund for her children and using the remaining amount to buy a new home for her ex-husband's family. With legal assistance, since she wasn't the registered owner of the house, she needed to present sufficient evidence to prove she had fully funded the purchase for the house to remain under her control. In January 2023, Choi listed the luxury home for sale at 77 million Hong Kong dollars. Real estate agents frequently brought potential buyers to view the property, which made Kwong very anxious. Despite Choi's repeated reassurances that she would handle everything smoothly, he refused to accept it. He believed that since the house was in his name, it should belong to him. He even threatened to kill Choi if she dared to sell it. The opposition from Alex's family only strengthened Choi's resolve to proceed with the sale. After multiple price reductions, she eventually sold the house for 63 million Hong Kong dollars, incurring a loss of nearly 10 million Hong Kong dollars. Despite everything, Choi still seemed to trust her ex-husband's family. Initially, she had 3 personal drivers, but one of them unexpectedly quit in early 2020. As a result, under strong pressure from her ex-husband's family, Choi hired Anthony, her ex-brother-in-law, as her personal driver. However, this turned out to be part of the broader plot against her. At 2:02 p.m. on February 21, 2023, Choi had her last phone call with her friend, Bao Tai. At 2:15 p.m., she was seen wearing a white long-sleeve shirt, white pants, white slippers, and carrying a handbag as she got into a white 7-seater vehicle driven by Anthony Kwong near Kadoorie Hill. As usual, she was supposed to pick up her children from school, but she vanished without a trace afterward. In the early hours of February 22nd, Chris, unable to wait any longer for his wife's return, reported her missing to the police and offered a reward of 2 million Hong Kong dollars for any information leading to Choi's whereabouts. Choi's biological family also offered an additional 2 million Hong Kong dollars, while her close friend added another 2 million Hong Kong dollars, bringing the total reward to 6 million Hong Kong dollars. After receiving the missing person report, the police quickly launched an investigation and discovered the financial dispute between Abby Choi and Alex's family over the Kadoorie Hill mansion. Additionally, the family had a strong motive for the crime, as Choi never officially registered her marriage. Without a will, her estate would be inherited by her 4 children, with at least half going to her 2 children with her ex-husband. Anthony, the driver, was the first to be summoned for questioning. During this time, he provided numerous false details, attempting to mislead the investigation. He claimed that Choi had exited the vehicle on her own and disappeared. When asked to show the dashcam footage, he stated that the camera was broken. Subsequently, the police summoned Choi's former in-laws, Kwong and Jenny Lee, who also gave varying degrees of false testimony. However, when the police tried to contact Alex, they found that he too had vanished. As the investigation reached a dead end, Choi's mother unexpectedly contacted the police, stating that her daughter had appeared to her in a dream. In the dream, Choi indicated that she was in a place with the sound of barking dogs, wind, and a mountain behind her. She repeatedly mentioned Tai Po. Strangely, on the afternoon of February 24, 2023, the police found Choi's remains in a house in Lung Mei Tsuen Village, Tai Po, Hong Kong, but she had already passed away. Her legs and arms were found inside a refrigerator, while other body parts had been disposed of. The house was sparsely furnished, with only a few tables and sofas, no bed, and curtains covering the walls and windows. Inside, authorities discovered a meat grinder, aprons, baskets, face masks, gloves, and other crime-related tools. Based on witness statements, the police gradually reconstructed the events. On February 21st, Anthony picked up Choi in a 7-seater vehicle. The car then stopped near the entrance of the Lion Rock Tunnel, where Alex Kwong boarded. At this point, Choi and her ex-husband got into a dispute, during which Choi was rendered unconscious. At 3:12 p.m., the vehicle arrived in Lung Mei Tsuen Village. Behind her vehicle, another white 7-seater car followed, which police suspect was driven by Kwong. This second car was used to transport crime-related tools. This raises the question, why would the brothers involve their 65-year-old father? In fact, Kwong Kao's background is far from simple. He was once a detective sergeant in the Hong Kong Police Force, awarded the Hong Kong Police Long Service Medal and First Class Medal. However, in 2005, while investigating a criminal case, Kwong Kao misused his position to obtain the victim's contact information. He repeatedly contacted the woman and even went to her residence to assault her. The woman reported the incident to the police, and Kwong Kao was detained for investigation. While on bail awaiting trial, Kwong Kao admitted guilt and resigned from his position, bringing the matter to a quiet resolution. Those with a legal background, like Kwong Kao, often understand the fate of criminals, making them more likely to adhere to laws or be familiar with legal procedures and better at evading liability. However, this also makes them more prone to committing crimes. It's clear that Kwong Kao may well have been the mastermind behind this case. From the night of the incident until the early hours of the following day, villagers in Lungmei Tsuen heard continuous chopping sounds coming from the house. Additionally, they heard a man and a woman arguing, though they couldn't discern the words, assuming it was a routine domestic quarrel, so they didn't report it to the police. A villager named Jiang noted that the house had been vacant for some time and was only recently rented out. 1 to 2 weeks before the incident, a white 7-seater car was frequently seen parked in front of the house. Upon investigation, the police discovered that the tenant of the house was named Chi Wing, Kwong Kao's mistress. Chi Wing worked at a massage parlor. 6 months earlier, she met Kwong Kao, a regular client, and the two developed a romantic relationship. In mid-February, Chi Wing also rented another apartment at Arc de Triomphe in Hong Kong. The evidence indicates that this was a premeditated murder, not a spur-of-the-moment crime of passion. On the same day the victim's body was found, police arrested Anthony, Kwong Kao, and Jenny Lee for obstruction of justice. A day later, at 1 p.m. on February 25th, police apprehended Alex, who had been on the run for several days, at Tung Chung Pier near Hong Kong International Airport. He was carrying over 500,000 Hong Kong dollars in cash and several luxury watches valued at over 4 million Hong Kong dollars. The person assisting Alex in his escape was 41-year-old Lin Shun, an employee of a yacht rental company. After the incident, he received 300,000 Hong Kong dollars and promised to help Alex flee Hong Kong to Macau by sea. On March 6, 2023, Hong Kong police arrested Alex's new girlfriend, Pun Hao Yin, while she was attempting to escape from Hong Kong to mainland China. Pun was accused of contacting Lin Shun to arrange Alex's escape. Surprisingly, Pun was not only Alex's girlfriend, but also a close friend of Choi. She had attended Choi's birthday party, and the two had taken numerous photos together. On February 25th, a large number of police officers searched the Kowloon area for evidence, including over 100 divers, aerial search teams, police dogs, and mobile units, but nothing was found. On the afternoon of February 26th, police finally discovered Choi's head in a large pot of soup, about 1.5 feet tall, at a related house in Lungmei Tsuen village. Carrots and other vegetables were also found in the soup. Police speculate that the killer wanted the soup to resemble kitchen waste for easier disposal. So far, 7 suspects have been arrested. Kwong Kao, Anthony Kwong, and Alex Kwong were charged with murder. They, along with Jenny Lee, were denied bail. Pun Hao Yin, Chi Wing, and Lin Shun were granted bail. In mid-March, an 8th suspect emerged. Some villagers reported seeing a masked man standing guard at the house on the day of the murder. Surveillance cameras captured a front view of the man, whose identity is still being verified by the police. A pretrial hearing was held on May 8, 2023, with 6 of the 7 suspects in Choi's murder appearing in court. Prosecutors revealed that blood matching Choi's DNA was found inside her ex-brother-in-law's car, and over 30 pieces of evidence collected by police, including knives, chainsaws, and hammers from the village, would undergo DNA testing. Later, in December 2023, Choi's ex-husband and 2 of her former brothers-in-law were also charged with preventing Choi's burial. As of now, the suspects in the murder case of Choi have not been fully convicted. Her ex-husband, Alex, along with his family members, have been charged with murder and other related offenses, including obstructing the lawful burial of Abby's body. As of October 2024, the trial is still ongoing due to challenges in forensic examinations and evidence handling. The trial is expected to resume in early 2025. Hopefully, the perpetrators will face appropriate punishment, and we will provide updates accordingly. Typically, perpetrators of murder cases may be antisocial individuals, harbor deep hatred towards the victim, or have psychological deficiencies. While the Kwong and Choi families had financial disputes, resorting to such a brutal method to gain wealth was unnecessary. Additionally, the harmonious relationship between the three families before the incident makes the case, which seemed straightforward, more complex due to rumors and suspicions. Currently, the most discussed topic on social media is the puzzling relationship between Choi's ex-husband Alex and her current husband Chris. Not only did Choi financially support Alex's family, but even Chris's family frequently interacted with them. Kwong even hired several attorneys for his defense after his arrest and sent a message to Chris's family through his legal assistant saying, "I hope Chris's family can help cover my legal fees." Many netizens believe that the nature of Abby Choi's divorce case may be beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Some even suggest that Alex and Chris might have a same-sex relationship, with Chris's marriage to Choi being a mere formality. However, this theory is unconvincing, as Choi bore Chris both a son and a daughter after their marriage. It would be illogical for a sham marriage to produce 2 children. Some also claim that the good relationship between the Kwong and Chris families was due to the fact that Alex Kwong, Chris, and Choi were former classmates. However, a newly released wedding video from 2016 seems to offer a different perspective on how they met. In the video, Chris admits that their interaction was more like a chance encounter on the street rather than that of classmates. Another theory suggests that the two families were essentially part of a mutual benefit community, with Choi merely being a tool used by both families for money laundering. Choi's home often stored a large number of luxury goods, far exceeding personal needs. The handbags and shoes were often in the same style and color, leading some netizens to speculate that this was a means of transferring luxury goods overseas. Of course, this remains pure speculation by netizens, with no concrete evidence. Previously, it was mentioned that Choi had purchased a villa under her ex-father-in-law Kwong Kao's name to evade taxes. But those familiar with the situation argue that wealthy individuals wouldn't be bothered by a small amount of tax savings, as it would only create unnecessary complications. They believe Choi had some sensitive information in the hands of her ex-father-in-law, which he used as leverage. Otherwise, why would she continue supporting her ex-husband's family after their divorce? In short, there are still many unanswered questions about the case. The online discourse is filled with mixed information, making it difficult to understand the complex relationship between the three families. Only further police investigations can shed light on public doubts. When it comes to famous women, many people often associate them with negative stereotypes, lacking character, flaunting wealth, or being superficial. But Choi was different. Those around her have only positive things to say. She was kind-hearted, educated, and committed to charitable causes. She was always polite, even to the household staff. Her mother-in-law once remarked that Choi was more caring than her own biological children. On birthdays, she would gather the whole family to celebrate, and she never forgot to send gifts to the housekeeper, maid, or driver to make them feel appreciated. Abby Choi was also deeply involved in protecting stray animals. Together with her friend and Bao Tai, she founded a charity that donated 10 million Hong Kong dollars annually to support volunteers who care for stray dogs and cats. On February 28th, the charity posted on Facebook announcing a name change to include Happy in memory of Choi's contributions. That same day, Chris, along with Choi's family and friends, visited the morgue to identify her body and then returned to the crime scene in Lungmei Tsuen village to pay their respects. Chris expressed his gratitude to Choi, saying, "I'm very grateful to have met you." While offering incense, her mother-in-law also tearfully pledged to care for Choi's 4 children and hoped she would rest in peace, saying, "Abby, your death was unjust. Your kindness was misplaced, my foolish child. Those wolves devoured your heart." As Choi's mother-in-law described, her kindness was indeed misplaced. For people like the Kwongs, no amount of generosity could satisfy their greed, and they would never feel gratitude or take responsibility. Choi married at 18, and the man who was once her lover became her ex-husband, only to later become her murderer. Step by step, Choi fell into the Kwong family's trap. As outsiders, we may never fully understand her mental journey. Perhaps she simply believed in what she was taught as a child. Be kind. Many people believe that kindness will always be rewarded. But one must not forget the saying, good people are easily bullied. Good people can be like horses to be ridden, and blind kindness may not lead to good outcomes. From Aesop's fable of the farmer and the snake, to the Korean movie Parasite and Choi's tragic death, sometimes kindness can only be met with cruelty and fail to awaken others' consciences. Ultimately, I hope that in another world, Abby Choi will no longer be a tool for others to exploit, and she can return to her vibrant